A person's destiny is quietly shaped by the thoughts they entertain every day. History has shown this again and again through individuals who transformed their ideas into empires. Visionaries did not begin with wealth, they began with belief. It is often said, you become what you consistently think about. But if that is true, then why do so many people remain stuck? Why do some dream of success yet never experience it? Is it a lack of opportunity? Or a lack of perspective? Let me tell you a story that answers this question. At a crowded railway station filled with noise, announcements, and rushing passengers, there sat a man who survived on charity. Every morning he took his place near a pillar, extending his hand to strangers waiting for their trains. Coins dropped occasionally. Some ignored him. Some pitied him. That was his life. One afternoon, he noticed a sharply dressed gentleman stepping onto the platform. The man carried himself with quiet confidence. His polished shoes and tailored suit spoke of discipline and achievement. The beggar thought, this man must be wealthy. If anyone can spare something generous, it's him. With hope, he approached and stretched out his hand. Instead of reaching for his wallet, the gentleman paused and asked calmly, "Tell me, do you only take from others or do you ever give something in return?" The question struck like lightning. The beggar blinked in confusion. "Sir, I survive by asking. I have nothing to offer." The gentleman studied him thoughtfully. "In business, nothing is free," he replied. "Exchange creates value. If you believe you have nothing to give, then you also have nothing to trade. And without trade, there is no reason for reward." Moments later, the train doors closed and the gentleman disappeared into the crowd. But his words stayed behind. That night, the beggar could not sleep. The question echoed in his mind, do you ever give? For years he had believed he owned nothing. Not skill, not value, not worth. But now doubt entered that belief. 2 days passed. He did not stretch out his hand. Instead, he observed. On the third morning, his eyes landed on a cluster of wildflowers growing beside the tracks. Their colors were bright, alive, unnoticed by the hurried world. An idea formed. He gathered a small bundle and returned to his usual spot. When someone dropped a coin into his hand, he smiled and handed them a flower. First, people were surprised. Then they smiled. Some even thanked him. Something shifted. More passengers began approaching him. Not out of sympathy, but because they appreciated receiving something beautiful. When his flowers were gone, fewer coins came. He noticed the pattern immediately. Value attracts value. Days later, he saw the same gentleman seated by a train window. With renewed confidence, he approached. "Sir," he said with a small smile, "today I can offer you something. If you wish to give, I will give you flowers in return." The gentleman accepted, handing him money and taking the flowers gently. "You've understood the principle," he said. "You are no longer asking. You are exchanging." Those words ignited something powerful. For the first time, the former beggar saw himself differently. He was not surviving on pity. He was participating in trade. He was offering beauty in exchange for currency. That realization changed everything. He left the station soon after. No dramatic announcement. No farewell. Just a decision. 6 months later, 2 well-dressed men crossed paths at that same station. One stared closely at the other. "Have we met before?" A confident smile appeared. "Yes," came the reply. "Right here. You once challenged me to give before asking." Recognition dawned. You were the man with the flowers. "And now," he said calmly, "I run a growing floral business. Today I travel to open another branch." The gentleman shook his head in amazement. "Incredible! What made the difference?" The flower merchant answered simply, "I stopped seeing myself as helpless. I began seeing myself as capable of exchange. The day my thinking changed, my direction changed." They shook hands, not as giver and receiver but as equals. The truth is simple. The world responds to how you see yourself. If you believe you are powerless, you will act powerless. If you believe you have value, you will begin to create it. Success is not reserved for the lucky. It begins in the mind long before it appears in reality. Change your thoughts and you begin to change your position in life. Because greatness is not given. It is first imagined.